kids. Okay, more goal 3. These are survey results. Again, survey and data is sometimes tricky. I think on the mid-year data, we didn't get a ton of parents. Not that we got a ton in 23-24 at the end of the year. So again, this is 23-24 is end of year. Mid-year's oh, okay, yeah, student data. Sorry. So we had I think 100% on this one. So yeah, data looking great. Again, this is end of year, mid-years being just that middle of the year. So data's looking good, and I think a lot of that's from the behavior and attendance stuff we're doing. All right, I think this next one's parent. Again, we didn't have a lot of parent surveys in 23-24. We even had less on the mid-year. We do put it out in a couple different emails and yeah, different ways we try to communicate it. So yeah, data's looking good for mid-year. All right, action steps for results.
Yeah,
so this first one, I love the idea.
So yeah, data's looking good for mid-year.
Another big idea of being a PLC is having a culture of accountability.
All right, action steps for results.
Yeah,
when we have our
love the idea.
So yeah, data's looking good for mid-year.
Another big idea accountable to our team. This is an area that I've got accountability.
All right, action steps for results.
When we have our love the idea.
So yeah, data's looking good for mid-year.
Another big idea of teacher team. This is an area that I've got accountability.
All right, action steps for results.
When we have our love the idea.
So yeah, data's looking good for mid-year.
Another big idea of teacher team. This is an area that I've got accountability.
All right, action steps for results.
When we have our love the idea.
So yeah, data's looking good for mid-year.
Another big idea of teacher team. This is an area that I've got accountability.
All right, action steps for results.
When we have our love the idea.
So yeah, data's looking good for mid-year.
Another big idea of teacher team. This is an area that I've got accountability.
All right, action steps for results.
When we have our love the idea.
So yeah, data's looking good for mid-year.
Another big idea of teacher team. This is an area that I've got accountability.
All right, action steps for results.
When we have our love the idea.
So yeah, data's looking good for mid-year.
Another big idea of teacher team. This is an area that I've got accountability.
All right, action steps for results.
When we have our love the idea. So yeah, we do a lot of recognition.
All right, action steps for results.
So yeah, we do a lot of recognition. Teachers draw their name. They go to the office. They sign this all-star board. It's a big thing at Upriver. It's once a month that there's some recognition. We draw a number. If it's their number, they choose their friend on the horizontal line or all-star board. It's a big thing at Upriver. We keep track of our character assemblies and how many parents are coming because we want parents invited. Teachers are asked to invite them when their kids are being recognized. And then we track. I like to know what percentage of the kids being recognized are having parents show up or someone show up. Teachers also do 30 items when their kids are being recognized. And then we track. I like to know what percentage of the kids being recognized are asking for presentations each year. Parents show up or someone show up. Teachers also do 30 items when their kids are contacts. And then we track. I like to know what percentage of the kids being recognized are asking for presentations each year. Parents show up or someone show up. It wants me to talk more about this slide, I think. And then we track. I like to know what percentage. Yeah, I know. I was just seeing if I could. It wants me to talk more about this. Oh, was that the? That gets me every time. I think I'm at the end. Yeah, I know. I was just seeing. All right, I need to start doing an end of report slide because that gets me. So it wants me to talk more about. Oh, was that the? That gets me every time. I think I'm at the end. Yeah, I know. I was just seeing. All right, I need to start doing an end of report slide because that gets me. So it wants me to talk more about. Oh. Coalition set up. Our kids' access to sports and band are limited. Communication out here is sometimes difficult. I fear the day someone has a serious injury because sometimes I just can't get a hold of parents. And some of that's because maybe their cell phone has to be near Wi-Fi or whatever. There's lots of different things. We have a high free and reduced percentage out here. I could go on and on. We have a technology staff out here. That's a real treat. Because again, our access to the superintendent, the special education director, maintenance, sometimes it's not immediate. And you know, she's been out here a couple times today, so that today's an exception. We have staff who wear many hats. You know, whether it's all our staff go to they're on the BLT team, where in some larger schools they're not on every team. They're on every team. They're in their teacher collaboration team, their RTI team, their everything team. Yeah, combo grades. We have combo grades out here. That's tricky to teach too. Questions?
Comments?
I appreciate that you are very passionate. Your staff is, and so are you. You just exude such confidence and such passion for your school.
Thank you.
I was out here last, what was it, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? And I just really enjoyed being able to see the community here at Everett. It definitely stands out.
Yeah.
And it's warm, and it's awesome to see your educators out here getting involved. And it was great to communicate. You got these grounds really tied down. So
We have great teachers, and Seth, that's kind of funny, your comment, just because I know there was some pop-in last-second meetings, and so you were waiting around, and so I appreciate your patience. And I don't think I emphasized, but we also beat the state in a couple categories, I think particularly 3rd and 4th grade on ISATs, and so that's important to us, and to know that, I mean, you strive, I think our kids are average or above, and so you strive to beat the state average. I appreciate all you guys coming, and I know some of us are busy, so I don't fault anybody not coming, but we had great district representative, and it wasn't just district. We have community members. We have a lot of people, and like I said, it was just the science fair is so well run. It's super impressive. So.
Yeah, I was surprised at how well organized the science fair was and how many
Well, and good teachers are reflective, and I'm always catching Dave say things and whatnot, and he's like, I really like what I did. I put out the sheets in advance, and so that helped him with it, kind of streamline his process, so he picked up something that I think he's going to utilize next year. But yeah, we have awesome staff, awesome families, awesome kids.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Can I make a couple of highlights? I want to point out in high school, Principal Asbury's report, you're going to see the business, BPA. Yep, BPA, Business Partners Association. They just had their leadership conference, and they're sending 12 to nationals. You'll see wrestling. Well, I'll highlight that again. We had a first place championship and second place. There were some kids from the wood shop and the welding shop that competed at NIC in preparation for the Skills USA competition, which is coming up. There you go. I definitely wanted to highlight that. And then bring your attention to maintenance. Tana's going to pass out a little sheet for you. It just outlines some of the upcoming projects that we'll talk more about next month when we look at the budget, in terms of some priority projects for this coming spring and summer, as well on as page 2 is a review of how we'll spend our modernization monies and how we're doing with our RAS grant. But we'll talk more in depth in April. I just wanted to give that outline as we're starting to put the priority list together. And then anything else? I mean, the Hayburn and the middle school, they have great pictures. It's always fun to look at in their reports. Oh, and Sherry Chafee with food service. They just finished 2 audits, but their first audit, they were 100%, absolutely no findings, and they looked at Hayburn as kind of the, I guess, school that they selected to do their audit. And so it's very nerve-wracking when you're going to be audited. Lots of checklists, looked at some safety and operations as well as the food menu. Anyways, I got 100% in terms of compliance, but also that represents what of a quality program she runs, or they run. So definitely want to highlight the staff and her for that. Pete. Hi, Pete. Pete says he did. No, I didn't Pete. So say hi.
Pete didn't sign, you didn't sign up, Pete?
Hi, Pete.
Okay.
That had to spell my name. His progress with RES grant while he was down there in Idaho, he made some friends and he might have beat somebody off.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but, you know, that RAS grant was pretty important to us. We went down there the week prior, met with, well, you guys met with Senator Hart. I tried to give the one packet to Senator Lent, and then we met with the governor. And, so anyway, he kind of told us that we need to go to the congressional guys back east, the senators, so, I told Teresa, I said, well, I'm gonna be down here next week for the loggers, and we've actually got meetings with their local representatives for them, so. Anyway, they were the first group that the loggers talked to down there, so I asked the president, Mark Mahon, I said, can I speak here when you're done? He said, yeah, so we got done, and I passed out the packets and told them, you know, that we were, $15 million grant. We were the only state in Idaho that got it, 1 out of 24 in the nation. And their eyes kind of perked up, and they said, well, we'll see what we can do. Like, all right, well, we got 4. So then some time went by, and I believe the next one was we went up to the governor's office, and we got in there, and he was talking to us about things we were getting ready to leave. And so I had another packet to him, and I grabbed him, and I said, hey, would you mind maybe calling the president with your direct contact there with him, because I was on the way home one day, and on Fox News I was listening to it, and the governor got summons to go back there, and so I heard him being called out by President Trump about how's education in the state of Idaho, Brad Little, and I'm like, oh, all right, cool. And Seth, did you see it on TV?
Yeah, I saw it on TV when you first heard about that.
So anyway, I handed him the packet, and I said, hey, we'd like to hear something by March 1st, which was 2 or 3 days from now. Because I said, otherwise, we're gonna be in
That's the best
another
timeline.
year of a 100-year-old building with the HVAC system and the single pane windows. And he was kind of getting pretty disgusted with me about that time, because he was turning his head, and he said, okay. And we laughed, and then I think Debbie Critchfield come in and talked to us, so I chased her down in the hall. And kind of a side note that, Julie Swan's the one gal that works for the ALC, she says, oh, here, this gal wants you to read this book to her. So I had to go into a side room and read a little book being recorded, which will be on Facebook tomorrow for the, I think, Department of Education. So if you hear me stumbling along, that's what was going on. So anyway, I got a hold of Debbie, and she said, I'll see what I can do. So then later on in that evening, we had a cocktail hour, and so Quinn Perry from the ISB, I invited them and Misty Swanson down there, and she showed up, and I was showing her that packet. She says, this is huge. She says, what can I do? And I said, whatever you can do to get it out. And so anyway, Frank Beal was with me, and he got to talking to the state controller, Brandon Wolf, and Brandon said, well, have him come and talk to me. So I grabbed the last packet that I had, so I went marching over and talked to the state controller, Brandon Wolf, and told him about it, and he was kind of acting like he was going to get geared up to help it. So anyway, kind of make a long story short, we come home Thursday night. Friday, I'm in Coeur d'Alene, and I get an email from Teresa saying, hey, the RAS grant, we just heard from the Department of Energy, it's moving forward. So I don't know what avenue I pushed on, but I pushed on it, we got something going, so anyway. Awesome. Did you ever hear back from McKinstry?
We've had a couple meetings. Right now, they're working on just some paperwork that needed to be submitted and approved. And then with that, reaching out to the subcontractors and the orders and invoices and adjusting or seeing if we can keep with this same timeline, which was to order soon so we could start the summer. So we're supposed to have a meeting at the end of this week or early next week and see where we're at. They're pushing really hard to see what can we still get done for this summer.
Okay. Well, and I know Josh will probably appreciate this, but I've learned in the 12 years that I've sat on the school board and been down there with the loggers, it's an all who you know.
Yep.
And that's, yeah. You find one, they don't wanna go for it, go around the corner, grab another one.
I told McKinstry we wanted to stick to Beth Halverson's timeline, which was March 1st.
Okay.
Hey, you gotta
I know.
set your goals
You gotta go
so
big.
You gotta go big or go home.
Well, we got an answer by March 1st.
I know, we got it. I was like, it was so funny because I was down doing
You got
chores and I was
materials to
thinking
try
about it that morning and
I know.
They were expecting it not to happen.
today's
know.
day. I get up and check my phone,
Yeah.
there it is. I'm like, yes!
I know. That was pretty amazing. Nice job. Nice
Good
work,
job, Joe.
everybody.
Really appreciate you down there representing St. Mary's.
Yep.
You know, when we were down there, we did the best we could, but we really knew that you were going down there, so.
Well, that's,
Threw a broad net over
yeah, you know, that's
Yeah.
the good thing.
I wonder
you
how
know.
many times the president's office heard about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Enough to push it
That's a
through.
good thing about being down there multiple times, you know, kind of back to back and
They got
creating
them.
those friendships or those acknowledgements with other people. And, you know, they're pretty soon you're down there for the loggers and then you're for the education. Oh, yeah, you were just down here. Yeah, so anyway, I think it's a good stroke of business to go down there.
Yeah, well, they
There's
got,
one other point to be made here, and
Yeah.
that is that our community believed in doing something, and we did it. We rewrote the community benefit plan.
Yep.
In that RAS grant,